Welcome in. It is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff here on 104.5 The Zone. We appreciate you listening this morning wherever you may be listening, as you're probably still polishing off some Thanksgiving leftovers. Get out the turkey and make yourself a sandwich and buckle up for the next 2 hours this morning. Lee Company making this show possible. We appreciate them. The Titans trust this home stadium that we haven't been to very many times so far this year.
That's true.
To Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play is to visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Guys, again, it has been a while since we have been here for a game. The last time the Titans took the field at lovely Nissan Stadium was October 29th. Ironically enough, that is also the last time they won a game. Almost a month ago. Buck Reising, welcome in, and happy post-Thanksgiving to you.
Happy post-Thanksgiving to you all as well, and to everybody listening out there. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. It might be a little different from when last we were here before Will Levis's rookie debut and the events that have come to pass since then. It is going to be fascinating to see whether this team against the Carolina Panthers can get back on track. And I know a lot of fans, after a while, probably be rooting for losses and better draft picks at a certain point. Well, but, today they've got an opportunity to win a game. They desperately need to win a game. And, for our purposes, we've got to talk about this matchup.
Man, well, I'm never going to be cheering, I guess, down the road because you never know what could happen with the other teams.
Me neither.
But I get it as a fan, no question about it. But there are people out there who really want the Titans to continue to lose, to move up the draft to get, Harrison or whoever the best player is at top 3, top 5 player. Because right now, they're at 6? Or where are they?
They would currently pick 6th in the NFL draft.
So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into that. You have to make the right decisions. You have to be sure that you feel like they have the group that can make that kind of decision. They're talking about what they have, $80 million or $100 million in salary cap space. Well, guess what? The Texans and someone else in the division also have $80 million, and they already have a better roster. So where would that still put us? Let's look down the road there, everyone. So it's going to be an uphill climb. So I'm really interested in this game in that I want to see how much King Henry is a part of this offense. Because at some point, Buck has mentioned it a couple times here when we had our last pregame show that he was right on point that at some point we have to let it be Levis's team because this, adapting and switching over to another offense, if you don't get ahead, then all of a sudden it kind of throws a monkey wrench, and then all of a sudden now you're kind of now doing Levis's offense. Let's start it off with Levis and then make Henry the second guy in this offense as far as direction, and Spears actually starting. See, that won't happen. But that's what I'm looking for them to have consistency because when you're going through that kind of transition and you're not winning games, desperate times, desperate measures, and you start tweaking with things because things aren't working. Not only the players on the field on offense and defense, but also the coaches because they want to find something that works and on a consistent basis. And with an inconsistent lineup at the offensive line, I don't know if it'll ever get that way with some guys starting today.
Different again today.
Yeah, so
we'll get to that.
That is kind of the core of what the crux of all the problems, to me, of the entire team. So didn't make the right decision there, unfortunately, and it's coming back to bite them, and then other injuries to guys on the offensive line. So I don't know if we can make this a Henry-driven team because of that. So we shall see, though. Hopefully at home, get some home cooking, and Henry gets off to a great start, and then we won't be having this conversation until the next game. But you just never know when you have, no consistency as far as who's starting on the offensive line. A lot of moving parts and puzzles to that never works really well in the National Football League.
Hanging out. Hello. A little bit of feedback here on site, hanging out outside Nissan Stadium. It's been a while. We got to work the kinks out.
I was going to say, the setup's a little rusty. It's been a minute.
Fourth time this year. It's week 12 that we've been here. Buck, you mentioned this, and Blaine, you talked about it too. It's interesting. There are some fans who might be rooting for draft position.
That's right.
That's what.
It's a 3-win football team. I don't know how you could fault people.
That's still tough for me to fathom. To come to the game thinking, gosh, it'd sure be great to draft higher. I mean, when you get here.
It's been a little while for sure.
Well, we'll get to that and more. Today, the Titans do play the Panthers. The Panthers are the only one-win team in the NFL.
Oh, my.
So this is a battle of two teams who are literally right there in the top 5. Number 1 in the draft position, and the Titans were number 6 going into this weekend per Tankathon. I'm sure the Panthers are.
Per what, I'm sorry?
Tankathon.
Tankathon.com.
Tankathon.
Tankathon.com.
Is that a real website?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Mickey.
Are you kidding me?
This is where we are. We're watching a draft site called Tankathon
You better
regularly.
stop,
You are
man.
really
No, that's the name of it.
You're depressing me, man.
Tankathon. I don't name the websites. Tankathon.com. And for people who wonder, no matter how this season has been, I'll go to our Diana Rossini correspondent here, Buck Reising. Diana Rossini reported right around Thanksgiving Day, I guess, for those who are wondering about the fate of Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
He isn't going anywhere, she says. Not going anywhere. Again, Buck, you are our Diana Rossini correspondent. We'll start with you on this one.
Well, I was actually talking to her on the flight back from Jacksonville about a couple of things, and she told me she was going to dig in on this week. And, she talked to ownership, and basically the resounding message was we're good to ride it out with him. Like, we understand the circumstance, which there's a lot more weeks of football to be played, and you're not going to get to play the Carolina Panthers every week. So we'll see how much that patience is tested over the course of the next couple of weeks. But Mike Vrabel, via trade or firing, is safe for the end of the season. And that is something that I think a lot of people had questions about. I know people are looking around and saying, how could you look at the last, season and a half, basically, now of sample size and say that as a blanket statement that staff can keep their jobs with the level of performance that hasn't been there. But ownership trusts him. And they understand that the roster deficiencies have built up over the course of the past couple of years, and they're willing to kind of let it play itself out and allow this head coach to have the opportunity with this quarterback, Will Levis, who he was a part of drafting, kind of shepherd this thing into the future and try and find out whether Will Levis is actually the future one way or the other, because that's not any certainty at this point. It's tough to figure out what exactly he is because he's under so much pressure on a regular basis. But that's basically what the rest of the season becomes. Evaluate the quarterback, figure out whether you've got that in-house, and apparently this coaching staff is going to get to have a go at it.
Yeah, Buck's in the know more than me, but just from an outsider just looking in, that's always sometimes the death of a coach when they said, oh, no, he's going to keep the job, and then all of a sudden he doesn't. So
sure.
Did anybody
Vote
ever
of
know?
Confidence.
Right. Did everybody know that JR was going to get fired? No. So,
no.
I can't say if you go on another 6-game, losing streak, all of a sudden, at some point you're forced to make a move, whether it's that coach or another coach, assistant coach or something along the way if it doesn't get better. So they're into the win. The question I really wanted to know from ownership is, did you expect to be in the position you're in right now, or did you expect to be a playoff contending team going into the season? And then that dictates what she's really thinking, or the ownership group. Not asking, are you going to fire Mike? No, I have no intention of doing that, but I had no intention thinking that we will be where we're at right now at 3 and what? 7, 8? Yeah, so I think that was more the question, because if you answer the question literally, naturally, if I was the owner, I would sit there and say, no, I'm not firing the coach. Why would I do that? He's a really good coach. Well, really good coaches get fired too, by the way, because this is a production business. This is about winning. If you don't win, somebody has to roll. That's just the nature of the beast. I mean, this is not college. This is the NFL. So it's unfortunate. So if they continue on this road, I'll be interested to see the patience of it. We saw the patience with JR. Like, you could say everything about JR, and that's why we're in this situation. Well, I don't really believe that wholeheartedly. And when I say that is because this roster is 40% new this season. So those aren't JR players. They are Rand and Vrabel players. I don't know who's really making the biggest collaboration or whatever the heck does that mean. So it'll be really interesting. I think they should continue to move on. But at the end of the season, if it still hasn't got to where you think it be, is it fair enough to say that you should give him a chance to, I guess, rebuild this team? Here's one thing that we do know, though. Vrabel's never been part of a rebuild. He's been part of a team that already consisted. He developed them, veteran team, and then took them to the promised land, as further as, they had gone a long time. Is he good at rebuilding? We don't know because we've never seen it. See, so that is the question that you have to lay behind if you're the owner, if you want to stick with Vrabel and his staff.
Diana Rossini also reporting, as Buck said, the Titans are trying to find out if Will Levis is the quarterback of the future. She also said they are not thrilled with losing. That was a quote from the tweet and from the story on The Athletic. I would ask both of you guys this. I mean, it's hard to get a true picture of Will Levis, as you mentioned, behind the offensive line, which, as you mentioned, changes every week. What would Will Levis have to do for the rest of this year, other than maybe get really hurt, for them to say, yep, not the guy, let's find somebody else?
Well, I mean, at some point, the expectation is that the rookie is going to come in, and it's whether it's fair or not given the circumstance, just like everybody else. Your job is to come in and produce. And right now he has had the incredible performance here the last time that we were here at home, the Titans at home, against the Atlanta Falcons, getting ready to find out what he was capable of, and he wowed the entire league, right? 4 touchdown passes. They were airing it out. They looked like an almost completely different offense, or what they, I guess, envisioned this thing might look like if they had the opportunity with a quarterback who can literally make throws to every part of the field. Like, his talent is not in question. The question is whether it can translate in real time and if he can sustain and continue to improve in a situation and adapt, basically, if not improve, to the situation in real time. He's already having to do that. We talked to him this week at practice on Tuesday. They had practice on Tuesday since they took Thanksgiving off. About what he and Aaron Brewer have been working on with the snaps. It's always on run plays, out of the shotgun, and Brewer keeps sending it back to one specific area. So they've worked on that. They've identified that to try and limit those missed opportunities or those mistakes, like the high snap that caused a lost fumble against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. So stuff like that you're looking for over time, that he's got the command. He's very much in command. This is the kind of stuff that you like to see. But he's 1-3 in these 4 starts. He'll have another opportunity today. And, at some point, he has to go out there and win a football game. I know it's tough. I know it's a big ask, but he's the quarterback of an NFL football team. This is not an easy job. You have to go out there and prove it.
For me, I'm the total opposite of that. I think he's done well enough to display that he is a franchise quarterback and can run a team. I think the biggest question is, can we keep him upright and keep him healthy?
Sure.
I think he can make all the throws. He's done the hard part. He's been under duress the entire time, except for the Falcons game, which he lit him up, right? So now all we have to do now is to slow him down when we do get protection. So that's really the hardest part. The tools are there. He has the tools in the toolbox. He has the capability. He has the mental makeup. He's athletic enough, and he has the big arm. And he's shown some accuracy and a little bit of inaccuracy, but I get what's going on here with all the offensive line. So I think going into a draft, I don't think nothing can change my mind at this point in time unless an injury or something like that, or the player that you want at quarterback is just so much better than him that you have no choice. But you could leverage that into getting more picks, to me, I think, and give you some offensive linemen and go from here with a quarterback of Levis's ilk. So I think he's the guy. Has he shown up and down and roller coaster? Can we see everything? No. But he sure in the heck isn't looking like Bryce Young, who has just as bad of an offensive line as the Titans, and he looks way worse than Will Levis. So I'd say Will Levis has done enough as far as if he consistently does what he's done thus far, I think I would be on board with him being the franchise quarterback. And then on the Brewer and the snaps, I would love to hear what they actually did, because you're under duress when you're in a game. You're not under duress when you're doing snaps on air. So how about putting another 350-pound guy in front of him and see how quickly he snaps that ball and accurately he snaps that ball, because that is the difference between practice and a game.
Sure.
See, so he's never going to feel that kind of stress in a game. So I don't care how he can do 1,000 snaps on air, and it's not going to help anything when you get in no freaking game. I'm sorry. I mean, what are we doing here? So I'm anxious to see how that goes, because it's been pretty consistent that he has some issues at point times in different games. So hopefully he'll get it done. Vrabel acts as though, that's one of his guys, so he's never going to make a move with him. But when you're not in his his wheelhouse and one of his guys, boy, he got quick trigger.
He was testing it in Jacksonville for sure. I mean, you saw him. I mean, understandably, they all should be visibly
Well, he was
upset.
tested, but his word said he wasn't. His word said, "I will not be changing Brewer at this point in time that I think of."
In
right
the
now.
press conference
Right,
afterwards,
yeah.
he said
After the game.
basically what you said. If we have to snap it 100 times, we'll snap it 100 times. And this is the thing, Blaine, that they keep coming back to, is that it's not translating. They feel like they're having good weeks of practice, and then it doesn't translate to the game. That's a message that we've consistently heard. Mickey, you've been in these post games as well. It's something that there's no way to replicate live game action beyond preseason, and even that is what it is. It's going to be fascinating to see whether they can implement that against the worst team in the league. As bad as it feels right now for Titans fans, it could be worse because you could be the Carolina Panthers. You could have Bryce Young as the number 1 overall pick, an offensive line that was supposed to be way better than it actually is and is worse than the current group that is trotting out on Nissan Stadium's field today, and not even have your first-round pick the way that the Carolina Panthers don't because it's the Chicago Bears. It's a tough situation for both of these teams, and both of these young quarterbacks are going to have to work through adversity. Blaine, to your point, though, Levis looks like he belongs when he's out there. And I think that's the thing that you can take the most it's the best reason for hope that they have right now, and to continue to see that improve.
Well, we hope to see you at Nissan Stadium today. And if you come out here, remember today's broadcast is brought to you in part by SA Recycling. SA Recycling reminds you to be a good fan. This game day, look for recycle bins in and around Nissan Stadium, as well as the SA Recycling Razor. We also appreciate the good folks at Lee Company making this show happen each and every time we come on the air. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Hanging out with the peeps here, League Company Countdown to Kickoff. Come by and see us. We're right outside the Titans Pro Shop. Buck is here, and Blaine is here, and Mickey, and Kirby, and Moses, and CJ. We got Sammy. It's everybody's here.
All kinds of people.
Come by and see us. Come by, and we'll tell you all about the League Company as well. League Company, all you need. Visit them at leaguecompany.com. It is battleship gray skies here. It truly feels like fall today at Nissan Stadium. Weather brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, who are offering cost-effective solutions like free service calls with their repairs and low monthly payments on those repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com. Low 50s today with a few possible light showers per our friend Mr. Davis. Knowing southwest winds around 10 miles per hour. Not bad weather for football today here at the stadium. So Titans and Panthers will square off. As we alluded to in the opening segment, gentlemen, Titans O-line will feature yet another different configuration today.
That's right.
The Jalen Duncan era begins in earnest. The Titans O-line is allowed 42.9% pressure rate. That is the third highest in the league. Maybe they can improve on that today.
Jalen Duncan playing left tackle. It was going to be interesting to see what decision they ended up making because Andre Dillard was back from concussion protocol this week. Traylon Burks, who I'm sure we'll talk about, was not, so he'll miss today's game. Again, dealing with the concussion, and obviously a very scary situation. I know everybody hopes that he continues to improve down that track. But for the offensive line, you're looking at Jalen Duncan, who went in as a part of that Jacksonville game plan for the jumbo package. And was going to get some
playing
reps.
tight end.
Getting some reps there. Then all of a sudden, the offensive line situation changes in game again.
I loved it. Wow.
Chris Hubbard is on IR. Duncan goes in and really relishes the opportunity to play right tackle for the first time in his career other than practice, which is what he told us in the locker room on Tuesday. So good on him for earning the opportunity. He'll go back to left tackle where he's been working all week. Dylan Radins will be the right tackle with Chris Hubbard on IR for the foreseeable future. And we'll see if this group doesn't do it. God knows they've had the opportunity to try a bunch of different offensive linemen at this point in the season. So now Duncan, as fans continue to ask for different players just to see if is there any difference in the ability to protect the quarterback. Can somebody keep this dude from getting nuked every time he drops back to pass? Now Jalen Duncan will be tasked with one of the most important jobs in football.
Oh, man.
No worries.
Well, what we are getting to see is
no pressure,
evaluation of all the players with going into next season. You're getting to see, okay, who can actually play in this league as a starter, who could be a backup, can you play multiple positions? So it may give some foresight into next year, hopefully, when you get everything kind of a little more organized and probably bring in some big time, whether it's draft pick with the first round pick, a tackle, or a free agency. So, yeah, I thought Duncan did a really good job out there. When he was out there at tight end, the jumbo, which they did a lot on even on the first drive, so you can go back and kind of watch him, and got his feet wet. I thought that was a great job by the coaching staff and Vrabel to get his feet wet because he hadn't had any experience in any game. I don't think at this point, if it was, it may have been just one or two plays here or there. And then to get in and then do an okay job considering no experience when he got out there playing tackle. So
12 pass blocking snaps playing and not a pressure allowed according to Pro Football Focus. We know that the coaches will grade them differently, but just for reference.
I watched all his snaps, and I thought he did a solid job. You can work with that, but it's hard to see he was front side. Now you're back side.
Sure.
So now that's a little different. So I would have been interested in asking Vrabel about how was that decision that came about that he is the backside tackle. Now, I know a lot of people going to say, oh, well, Dillard's available, so why isn't he the backside? Because Duncan played the right side. And is Dylan Radins also not as good on the left side, and why is he not? Because I would have preferred him over there. And if he says, well, because of his knee or whatever, I don't know if he wants to give anything out as far as why that decision. But I was just always curious. He was going to have to go with those two anyway, but, like, how did you decide who plays left and who plays right? And we all know the blindside tackle is always the more important tackle position, and Duncan's the guy who's starting there, which is always a tough. Usually has the best pass rusher, but they move guys around now. But still, the blindside tackle is the one that can do the strip sacks because the quarterback can't see him.
Right.
You can only feel him. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited for him. I mean, that's how he should be excited because he has the athleticism to get it done based off of his college experience. He just had some inconsistency in his technique, and we'll see if he continues to improve and his confidence grow rep by rep in the end game, and hopefully this is a solid defensive front. So it's not like this is, it's going to be easy sledding for him. So I'm really curious to see what he does in this game. And I'm hoping he does at least a fair job based off the snaps we saw from PFF, as you mentioned there, Buck.
For reference, just before we move on, Mickey, Mike Vrabel was asked about that by Teron Davenport on Friday. I know we weren't on the air as a radio station on Friday. Well, I mean, something was on the air. Best ofs were on the air. But
I was out of town.
That's right. But anyway, so and Mike didn't really expand on why Radin's basically coach's decision. We feel like he's best equipped to help us there, while we have Duncan on the left side to hold it down. So he's been given a couple opportunities, Dylan Radins. He's fared well, better in some than others, and so he'll continue to play for the offense for this offensive line while Hubbard's out, and he can continue to build upon that.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here, the reason why I wanted to ask that question wasn't just because nobody asked it, is because I feel like Dylan Radins is a right tackle in this league. As much as he wanted to play the left last year or whatever I think he's got a chance to be a starter going into next season if he just does a solid job, stays healthy, stays out there and does an adequate job, or at least a potential shot at starting right there. So I like what I've seen out of Radins, and I think that's why he's kind of sitting him there, because he did well in that game against T.J. Watt at the right side and not the left. And then naturally he started the next game on the other side, didn't fare so well on the left side. And I always saw him getting bulled, always because he looked like he was getting, like somebody was going to roll up on his legs in the back and he would just fall down. It happened multiple times. So I'm wondering if on the right side his leg is stronger there, that he tore his ACL. He's not concerned as much. I don't know which leg it was. Right. And so I want to see how I'm excited about the opportunity for these guys, because I think we're making progress. We just don't see it in the record column on wins and losses, but at least for the offensive line. I know nobody's playing for next year, but in my mind, that's what we are doing at this time. They can never admit to that, but because they want to win every game, but I think that's where they're going.
It's interesting. They're not exactly facing, the 70s Dallas Doomsday defense here in the Panthers. They're 31st in the NFL with 17 sacks. They do have a guy named Brian Burns, though. Yeah. I know Coach Mack has talked in glowing terms about him a lot over the years. He mentioned him on Blaine and my show again this week. Like, well, they got some dudes, and he's one of those dudes. You can't afford to let him get to doing what he does.
He's phenomenal. And I talked to Harold Landry about him this week, actually, because he's got this, and I don't know what the technical term is, but it's almost like a delayed rush type of situation where he just has a change of speed. He kind of slow plays a little bit, lures the tackle into a false sense of security, and then just darts by him because he's got that kind of explosive ability. It's something that he's had a lot of success with. Obviously, they, as a defensive, the talent on defense, and it's really, that's what drives you crazy probably watching the Carolina Panthers if you're somebody who's got a vested interest in them. There are good players on that football team, and it's kind of there are good players on the Titans. It's just where missed opportunities come to pass, and an underperforming unit like the Carolina Panthers offensive line in front of Bryce Young and stuff like that. But anyway, sticking with Brian Burns, they'll have to find different ways to help. We know that this team uses tight ends, running backs, and wide receivers to help in pass protection as much as anybody in the league right now through the first 11 weeks of the season. So they have to come in. They will have had to have come in with a good protection plan for the week, and we'll see if they, like they did with T.J. Watt, they've had some success. It's just whether they can hold up on the other side, whether a guy can be asked to win individually so you can take away T.J. Watt like they did against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you have an Alex Highsmith on the other side who can find ways to win one-on-one. That's the kind of chess match that this offensive coaching staff is having to figure out. And then to go into something else, Tim Kelly this week, I don't know if you guys caught his press conference, the offensive coordinator, where he was asked about whether he felt like Derrick Henry had enough room in front of him on a play-in, play-out basis to kind of get going. And he said, yeah, definitely. And we all kind of looked around at him and said, are you sure about what you're seeing in front of you? Like, just kind of asking him to clarify a little bit. And I understand, like, he's trying to stick with maybe company line and everything's fine, and we're proud of the group that we've got, and they're giving us the best effort that they have, and all these different things. But it was just kind of weird to hear that. They're gonna, I hope that they're a little more self-aware privately than they were publicly, because of all the things to say about the running game situation and the lack of that, because that's what they have to do. They have to run more plays. They ran 38 damn plays against the Jags. Like, they have to find ways to sustain drives. The run game has been gone since basically Tampa Bay. And to hear Tim Kelly say that was kind of jarring to me.
Was it in reference to, you guys were talking, I guess, about the offensive line, and he was trying to kind of slow play it and protect them and say, hey, as bad as it seems, it's not as bad as it looks. I just don't know. I didn't hear the pressure.
The question was about Derek. Is basically does Derek have enough room in front of him to kind of get to that second or third step to get going? And the answer was, yeah, definitely. And we were just kind of like,
well,
okay.
Well, speaking of Derek, and we all love Derek. We know he's a potential Hall of Fame type player. But why does he get rest now when he only has like 10 carries throughout the week? I'm just curious. Like, why do you need rest? What are you doing? Yeah, I love you, Derek, but what's going on here?
That's a good question. I don't know that he's been asked that. Because,
10 plays, bro? Really? Oh, you just following a routine, but he's not getting 20, 25 carries.
That's true. So, well, Blaine, again, they only ran 38 plays and a couple of them were nailed down.
Are we adjusting? Is this just like how we do in a game? We don't make adjustments according to how the game is flowing? And are we making adjustments off the field according to how many carries you get, how much you play?
He's never had a lighter workload in his NFL career other than when he was behind DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to see.
I love him to death, but at some point you go, he didn't get that many snaps, so we can keep it rolling today.
How long would it – Blaine's told this story before.
Eddie George practice every day.
Yeah.
I feel like they somewhat similar type players. Henry's probably a little faster, but power back guys. So
I'd be curious to hear his answer to that question.
He never had a day off like that. Like even if he was resty, he was out there, like and moving around and doing individual and play just one or two plays in each team's 7-on-7. He would still do some form of work because he was running all the way to the goal line every play.
How long do you think it would take to watch the film for 38 plays? You think they were out early that day?
No, you just trying to poke me. I know where I go. You know where I go.
You've told the story before, though, about the defense. Be like,
dude, I used to look at dice.
Man, we're halfway through with our film. Oh, no, we're done.
No, and I told you, after about 5 times of that, you go, well, this is BS. Bro, y'all got to step it up. Bro, we did 100 plays. 3 games in a row. What are y'all doing? Oh, we about to go and then laughing and chuckling about it. That's what makes it worse. So I asked Dyson. I used to be, hey, man, where y'all going?
Look at Mickey smiling like he knows what he did.
Like, oh, man.
38 plays, bro.
Yeah, that's where I think sometimes, guys are humans and they start saying, hey, bro, we can't keep going that because eventually we are going to be susceptible because you only got so many plays in you. And so you're gonna wear down. If it's not this game, it's gonna be the next game or the game after that. So that was all jokes aside. That's really what we were talking about. But it was just funny because that happened a few times where it was like, hey man, dude, I'm barely walking around here, and you acted happy-go-lucky because I only had 38 plays. A
little self-awareness.
Yeah, let's be chill. Like, hey man, sorry we didn't get it done. No, ain't nothing about that. They was like, hey man, we out. Bye, see ya. What?
Maybe they were going to the Titans VIP tailgate party to see Ron Slay. That's where he checks in from. Ron,
can we start drinking at this? If Slay gets to drink, can we start drinking at this?
Something tells me
early for a mimosa.
Something tells me Slay has already broken the seal on something.
Slay is going from yesterday.
What's up, Slay? Oh, yeah.
Hey, man. I'm taking all victories as they come, man. So I am still going from yesterday, even though it was against Vandy. But, hey, man, we facing a similar opponent. If you look at the Titans, who they playing, the Carolina Panthers, it should be the same thing. Like, you ought to be able to go out and get this victory, too. So that's where we at right now in the Bridge Building. We got some people over here from England, a big bunch of people from England that came over here, man. I guess the witness the game, heard about the Bridge Building, said we want to party with Slay. So I said, come on, you do it. Let's do it.
Oh, there's only people from England and everything else. No Panther fans over there, is it?
No Panthers fans, man.
Yeah, I don't think they travel.
I think they bus ticket might have got lost in the mail, man. I don't even think they fly. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. So every time we ask you the score and what you think is going to happen in the game, you've been on point every time, Slay. So take us on the sleigh ride and tell us what's going to happen this time.
All right, man, I'm going on the sleigh ride this time. I'm going with King Henry, man. I'm going over 72 yards. I don't know how much they're going to be able to run the rock, though, because I think it's going to be unfair after a minute. But say over 72 yards, and I'm going over 22.5 yards with Tajay Spears, so that ought to be a combined going down the stretch. Get over 100 yards rushing, and then right at 175, 180 for Will Levis passing. I think it's still going to be a defensive battle. I'm not sure if our offensive line can hold up. We may make them look great.
Oh, got a prediction on the score?
Score 24-13. 24-13 Titans.
Oh,
Man, that would send some people home happy with their Thanksgiving
24
hangover.
points.
Yeah, for sure. Slay, what did you do maybe when your team wasn't playing so well? Did you have any type of routine or something to break out of a slump? This Titans team needs to break out of a slump today. What advice can you give them?
Man, me personally, man, I always went back to the basics. I paid attention to more details, and I was able to break the game down in increments. You know what I'm saying? Like in basketball, it would be 4-minute stretches before the media timeout. I would just say I'm going to play really hard and have an impact in these 4 minutes and break it down that way. I think you get so caught up on the end goal that you forget, the little things that you're supposed to do going into it. And then once you do that, once you get back into it, you start to get back in the groove, get a rhythm, and it starts to become easy. So I say go back to the fundamentals and break it down play by play, snap by snap when you're talking football.
Well, I used to just, after go through a losing streak, and I feel like I'm doing all the things of detail, I start changing what leg I put in my pants first. I change my jock strap.
Okay.
I'm doing I'm turning it inside out. I'm changing my
Wear it
socks.
backwards.
I'm doing everything different. But if I had a great game, now I'm doing everything the same. Right?
Everything the
What
same.
you talking about, man?
Yeah. See, I never did that, man. I always felt like the headband was gonna be good. I used to wear the crop top up under my jersey. I got that from football. The cutoff on the shoulders, and then so that would be the only thing that I would switch up. I would get a new one of them. But other than that, I would wear that same one the whole season or whatever it may be. So I feel you on that right there.
Did you keep your headband? You kept extra ones anywhere? How did that work? In case
if I had a good game, I wouldn't give it away, and I would always have the trainer right there for me to flick one in the stands to the kids that asked for one. But if I had a bad game, you better hurry up and get rid of that one. Give me a fresh.
One more question for the sleigh ride, though. This is all about you, though. This is what I want to know.
I see that.
I love it because the people get the inside scoop. Right. How did the headband become a thing with you and wearing it at Tennessee? Did you wear it in high school? When was your first time wearing it, and why did you wear it, and why did you continue to wear it?
Man, I started in middle school, so I did something in middle school, 8th grade. Me and my cousin Marcus Fitzgerald, we both started wearing the headbands at the same time, just to be different. It was like a fashion statement at the time. So I got to high school, started wearing it. And by my sophomore year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the headband off. And I'd worn it so much that sweat used to run in my eyes. So I had to start wearing it again, and it just stayed with me ever since. It stayed with me ever since, man. It was locked in. Coach Smith, look, one thing. Coach Smith at Oak Hill, the legendary Hall of Fame coach, would not let me wear it. He would not let me wear it, and then I went up to Oak Hill, had a bad game, and he started to let me wear it. The next year, Carmelo came in, and he let Melo wear it. I see Melo wearing it the first game. I called him. I said, hey, Coach Smith, what you doing, man? I thought we can't wear headbands. He said, Slay Dog, that's Melo. I said, you know what? I said, you right. You right.
Well, Slay, we won't hear from Melo.
Tiers.
We won't hear from Melo in hour number 2, but we will hear from you again. So I expect a rowdier atmosphere at that point. Let's try to get things stirred up over there, okay?
Okay, they coming in slowly, but they coming in. It's like church, man. Everybody waiting to pay the tithes and all the offering, and then they come in to get the message. That's it.
Well, hopefully they're praying for a win today, too. All right, we'll check in with Slay in hour number 2 from the Titans VIP tailgate. We'll get rolling with more of this. We have Buck's Best Bets coming up as well, so stay tuned for that.
Best bet.
I'm winning. Actually, you and I both took L's
It's
last
a
week.
best bet. It's only one bet, not bets.
Just
Yes,
the bet.
Buck's Best Bet. I may
Just
only
the bet.
make one, too. Guess
Until
what?
somebody wants to sponsor it again, it's a bet.
Mickey's best bets.
Well, I may make just one, too. Why don't we do this? We'll come back. You can find out how many
No,
bets we're
those
gonna
aren't the
make.
rules,
Lee
Mickey.
Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. More to come.
I'm winning.
Lee Company countdown to kickoff on 104.5 The Zone. Facility managers need a reliable partner for their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs. They trust Lee Company's 24/7 service and their team of experts. Your next play is to visit leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need right now, all you need is to make some money. Buck is holding up. You don't want to hear your theme yet?
I do.
Okay.
In just a second.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that we take a second, because one of the people that listens to us on the radio station and us on the pregame show, unless, there was another time that you wanted to do this,
No,
Nick.
we can talk to these folks right now.
Well, you just pigeonholed him into it. It's no way he can go back.
I know where he's going. I had written their names down.
Okay.
So Ashley and her son Landon,
Yeah.
who always come up and say hi to us at the pregame show and stuff like that. I know Landon's been going through it with a medical situation in the last couple of days. Really, really tough over the holiday. I know he's been in and out of the hospital, been on and off of ventilators and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure that we said that we're thinking of him. And I know there's been a lot of people on social media that have reached out to support. I'm sure it's overwhelming. But, just wanted to – we wish that you were here with us, and we're glad that you're getting better, Landon. It was good to see that on social media yesterday.
So Landon and Ashley, just know, like Buck said, we're thinking about you, and we got several more of these opportunities for you to come and hang out with us pregame.
Absolutely.
Again. So get well, buddy.
Can't wait to see you back here.
Can't wait to see you back here for sure.
All right, now we can do the music with the gambling. Let's go.
All right, and from that we go to a gambling segment.
We go to a depressing to excitement.
Yes. Give me my money!
Money. Listen for Buck. There
Sing it
he
to
is.
me, Blaine.
No,
Go on, big dog.
That was you. That was you right there. You the Joker.
Well, you're not the Joker if you're betting with me this season, because so far Joseph has sent us the numbers. We're feeling good, although neither.
Who's winning?
I'm still winning.
Why
is that a question? I'm winning.
He's
What's the score there, Buck?
I'm 7-5 on the season. Mickey is 9-13. Volume.
I'm a high
shooter,
volume better. Yes.
He's Russell Westbrook out here. A lot of bricks.
I'm Cedric Ceballos in garbage time. I'm putting up a lot of shots.
A lot of bricks.
Sorry,
That's
Sam.
okay. We
You're
pick our
listening. I was a
spots.
fan.
We make people money. 7-5 on the season. Courtesy of Zen Sports. By the way, neither of us won last week. So
That's
true. Worth pointing out. But we'll take a look at the Titans and the Panthers as today's game, obviously here at Nissan Stadium, where people are starting to file in and getting ready to go in the doors there. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites over a football team in the year 2023. It is the Carolina Panthers.
It must be a home game, huh?
That's right. Hey, but they score 27 points per game at home.
At home.
It's one of the weirdest damn things I've ever seen. So today, I would probably bet the Panthers to cover the spread, but Titans money line is how I would hedge that. So Titans to straight up win, Panthers to cover. I think the Titans are capable of pulling off the win here today, and I haven't felt that way in a while, but it's Carolina. They're at home. If you can't do it today, God help you.
Oh, man. That's
Any thoughts on this?
I don't know if you could top that there, Mixter.
Cash it, Joseph.
This is why I don't gamble, because I would be 0-11 or something at this point in time, so that's why I don't. I'm horrible. I am horrible. So I let you guys tell me where I should go.
He lets us screw around and lose people money.
Yeah,
You don't
right,
want to get the tweets.
Yeah.
Boy, for the longest time, I was putting people's kids through college and
Yeah.
new pair of shoes. So let's get back to that today. Let's hit the Moneymakers
do
team.
it.
Woo!
Mickey.
But winners.
Right here, Ryan.
No.
There
Let's
he is.
ride.
You know,
Russell.
that's my third cousin. I'm only claiming him now since he's playing.
Russ, now that he's winning again?
Hey, man, they about to mess around and get in the playoff picture here, the Broncos. Somebody told them you guys could actually win some games, and they did it. All right, Blaine unwillingly and unknowingly made me feel good about the one thing I had put on my report for last night. Tajay Spears over 41.5 total yards.
Ooh.
That's rushing
Total
and
yards.
receiving. Total yards.
That's a good one.
Tajay Spears over. I vowed last week I would never take another Titans over bet again, but but I'm sucked in by this. 41.5 yards for Tyjae Spears. That's rushing and receiving. What do you think, boys?
Look at these two drinking in the background. They're nodding along. They like that. They like that number too. Absolutely. I think I would hammer that in a heartbeat. Listen, more Tyjae Spears at this point, if for no other reason to give somebody an opportunity to slip a tackle and make a play. That's the one player or one area of the football team that I feel like I've felt better about as the weeks have gone on. I know the results aren't there for the team as a whole, but Tyjae Spears continues to find ways to make impacts. Hell, I think Mike Vrabel brought up last week in Jacksonville is the first time the first tackler has been able to take him down. He's been elusive all year long. He's yards after contact and yards after catch for sure.
Bad thing is when you run 38 plays, nobody gets too many cracks at it.
You got to avoid that.
Yeah, I think they're going to run more plays than that this week. So, yeah, I think that's a good bet.
Take it and run.
41.5. All right.
Total yardage? Wow.
I can only convince myself of one other one, and it's actually the complete opposite of Tyjae Spears because the Panthers are 31st in scoring defense and 31st in red zone defense. I think Derrick Henry gets a touchdown today in the red zone. I think Derrick Henry will get cracks at it like he always does. If they can get down there, Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown scorer today. I want to hear my cash register sound, Joseph.
There it is.
Oh, man. How many yards does Henry? Does it say he's going to get rushing?
Derrick Henry's rush prop today is 72.5. You guys ready to do that? He hasn't gotten 72.5 in like the last two games combined. Remember, he's been 100 yards away from 9,000 for like a month now.
No, I know. It's Derek. It's not about you, baby. It's about the guys in front of you.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do
it.
I can't do it right
his
now.
His offensive coordinator says they're clearing the way. There's room when he gets the ball.
I would like to offer Tim Kelly a mulligan, to do the press conference over again. Bud, it doesn't have to be this way. You can be a little more honest. Nobody's going to come and abduct you in a van or something like that. It's going to be all right. Oof. I'll take the anytime touchdown score. I may leave you with the yards.
I'm going yards and Tyjae Spears both get over their numbers.
Blaine's.
Yep, I'm going on. This is why I don't
feeling
bet.
it today.
Yeah, that's why I don't bet.
I'll tell you
because you know what I'm thinking always. How are you going to win this game? They better do that, or you're not going to win. You're not going to win.
They haven't won. They haven't won a lot though, so
it's like the meme with the kid in the roadkill. He's got a stick, he's poking it. Do something. It's kind of the situation. Do something today.
I'll tell you, I would be super tempted to take the Adam Thielen over 66.5 though. Because he's going to get his.
I'm not tempted. I will take that.
Yeah. So you going too bad?
That's such a bad today.
Oh my! I'm thinking about it.
Is this more about the secondary, the quarterbacks?
That's right.
66.5, and he gets his. He eats
his
every week.
Nobody else can do anything in that offense but Adam Thielen. God love him.
Jonathan
He's out there fighting for it.
26.5. DJ Chark, 24.5. Chuba Hubbard, you can get him for 9.5 receiving yards.
Oh, my.
Boy, Adam Thielen, 66.5.
Somebody has to catch the passes. Just somebody.
He's a polished route runner, man. So I wouldn't be surprised.
He's a skilled player.
Also, I feel like if I add that to my moneymakers for the weekend, I know Joseph is diligently taking notes. Then there's 100% chance the Titans will hold him to like 42 yards receiving.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Well, you have to.
Do I fall on the sword for the secondary or not?
Bet with your mind or bet with your heart, Mickey. Both are a mistake.
That's my issue. I always bet with the heart, and that leads you down to deep in your pocket.
We can't do this to Blaine anymore. I'm afraid he's going to get depressed up here.
Oh, man.
I think he's sufficiently depressed already each week from these segments, and especially how poorly we did last week. I think that depressed everybody.
I'm depressed whenever the Titans lose. I'm just like every other fan. I want them to win, man. This is not fun talking about losing. Draft picks? What are you talking about?
Tankathon.com.
Tankathon, Blaine.
Oh, man.
Did you not know about Tankathon?
No, I did. It's just the idea that we brought it up on the pregame show is actively hilarious to me.
I didn't know about that.
Well, I mean, it's just part of our lives now,
no,
Tankathon.
No, Blaine just wants to grab the franchise collectively by the shoulders and shake them and be like, wake up. Wake up a little bit.
Oh, man, I just want them to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Give us the best shot of what the guys who got.
Those the money makers?
Those are the money makers too. I'm not taking the Thielen, although I probably should. I'll talk about regretting that.
Oh, so you had problems with just doing one bet. You can't just do one bet.
He's an
No,
addict.
I can't. I did too.
Oh,
the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Thank you. I got it down.
All right,
got it down.
Maybe we'll call that number in this break. We'll come back.
Here come
Hour
the
number
band.
2. We're a little over 30 minutes away from finding out who is active and who is inactive. The Panthers are pretty beat up today. The Titans appear to be moderately healthy for at least this point of the season. We'll tell you all that and more. We'll take your phone calls too in hour number 2. 615-737-1045 will get you on the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff rolls on here on 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate you spending your Sunday with us. We haven't been here at Nissan Stadium very much this season. This is just the fourth time in 12 weeks. But we appreciate the good folks at Lee Company for making it happen every time we are here. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. The Tennessee Titans have been a different team at home scoring-wise than they have on the road. The Panthers offense has actually been scoring a half point less per game than the Titans this season. They average 16.3. They've scored 51 total in their last 4 games. That's 12.8 points per game over the last month for these Panthers. We've talked a lot about the Titans offense in hour number 1 of the program. It's been a slog for the Panthers offense this year too, Buck. They also have the rookie quarterback that they spent a lot more draft capital getting. His offensive line has been, well, he's had the same issues that Will Levis has had here and Ryan Tannehill had before him. It has been a slog on offense for the Panthers.
Have you caught any of his press conferences post-game where he's being asked, like, he sounds battered. I mean, he really does.
Oh, Bryce Young?
Bryce Young.
Oh,
it's
he
tough.
sounds defeated.
It's tough sledding. Well, I mean, they are literally defeated in all but one game, which, ironically enough, against the Houston Texans that are playing for the division lead today. It's a weird sport, football in the NFL. But for the Titans, you know, we talk a lot about don't be the team that the opposition gets right against. Wouldn't it be nice to be the team that the defense or the secondary can get right against? Turnovers is something that they need to capitalize on. They've turned the ball over almost not at all throughout the course of the year. There are so many other players in the league that have more total interceptions on the year than do the Tennessee Titans through 11 games.
The guy from Dallas with 5 pick sixes. The Titans don't have 5 interceptions.
He's setting.
Well, he said an NFL.
Yeah, there's extreme ends of the spectrum. But today, the Titans defense has an opportunity to play more sound football between the 20s. They've been a good red zone defense. They weren't good in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence made a couple of plays and made them pay, right? Yeah. But on the whole, they have only allowed 19 touchdowns on the season. It's still a good red zone defense. The problem has been you let the opponent get to the red zone to get opportunities at this and the explosive plays that seem to happen in untimely moments. Jeff Simmons, when's the last time we've talked about Danico Autry Danico Autry has had impact on the game, but we have not talked about Danico making plays nearly as often this season. We have not talked about Arden Key basically since New Orleans. It's pretty jarring. There will be a holding call here and there that's as good as a sack in some of these moments. So I don't want to discount the ability to disrupt the quarterback and get the offense behind the chains. But you need more from all of these guys in the secondary. They're being asked to hold up for far longer than we thought they would be this season. And along with the changing parts that they had at the trade deadline and stuff like that, and guys in and out of the lineup, with SMB, who I know is excited to get back out there and give it a go today, having missed some time. It's a good opportunity for the Titans to show what they can do, to beat an inferior opponent.
Yeah. To
beat an inferior opponent.
Well, to me, you know, at this point in time, they are not the inferior opponent. They should be. We have to play our best to win every game. And I get what you're saying, but it's just the defensive line has disappointed. And I've seen Jeffrey Simmons at times over the last couple games kind of step up a little bit, but outside of him, nobody has really stood out. He hasn't had a lot of help. And you're talking about turnovers like it's just easy. So if the front doesn't do its job, then the secondary can't make plays, and they're an average secondary. Let's start there from the jump. So they need the help of pressure from the front four. And if they don't get it, they become below average, because then it's just like, just pick your poison wherever you want to throw the football. And then with the injuries there, too, as well. So moving guys around. So if they don't get pressure, those turnovers won't come. They just won't. That's the way this league is built. And if what happens is you start pressing as a secondary member, you then will make mistakes. And I think that's why Fulton, more than anybody, is pressing, trying to make plays, because not only is he's not doing the technique, he's pressing to make a turnover, but he's also pressing to make money for his new contract, and then that leads you to then making small, minor mistakes that then can get you in trouble. So that when we say the word, we've got to get turnovers, so then the secondary then, from a media perspective, then takes ownership like it's just them. It's not them and the defensive line to put pressure on them, and then they start pressing to make plays, and then they mess up. So you got to be real careful, at least from a former player's perspective. Say, hey, just play what's called and do my job, and then if the plays happen, they happen. We're talking about tip balls. We're talking about a lot of different things that haven't happened from this foot forward. So I would say more so they have disappointed. I think we knew what our secondary was. I think we thought it was an average secondary in the National Football League. But our front is above average, and probably one as a unit you would think is one of the better groups in the league, top 5. So I think they're going to need a lot of help, even in this game, to win. And they better cause havoc around Young, or, hey, he's going to be like any other quarterback. If he has time, he's going to make some throws, and, they can be beat. So this is not a gimme game by any means in my mind if they don't start it off right and continue consistently throughout the game defensively.
The interesting thing about Arden Key, and we talked about this a little bit before, Blaine, his most productive year was in San Francisco. It's the year he played the least. Only played 35% of the defensive snaps there. He played the least. And when you look at his
what was his sack numbers?
Hit 6.5 that year. That's the best year he's ever had, was 6.5. He had 6.5 sacks. He had 22 tackles that year. He had 17 quarterback hits. 17 quarterback hits is his high by far. 22 tackles isn't his highest tackle number, but 6.5 is his highest sack total number by 2.5. He only has 2.5 sacks this year.
Yeah, but pressures also count too.
Yeah,
I mean,
pressures. Yes, absolutely. Pressures. And Blaine, you could speak to this better than I can, but like if I'm evaluating a pass rusher, I'm looking more at the pressures than I am at the sacks. Sacks tell me what the defense is as a whole, right? Whether that's coverage sacks, whether that's
you get paid by the sacks.
Correct.
But it's in totality. Pressures are just as well.
Sure, and Arden,
good.
there are moments because they move Arden Key all over the place. Like they're trying to find ways to get
Matchups.
matchups, right? So we see them trying to deploy it, and whether it's just a matter of like the timing or a fraction of a second off, and he's just that far away from actually making a difference or not. And I know people are going to harp on sacks, but it's just collectively the defense. There's a lot of strain that's being put on them. They also have to step up, right? Everything is magnified.
And Autry too.
Sure,
Jeff,
Autry too.
Everybody, yeah,
collectively,
yes.
That entire defense needs to step up as a unit, right? When you cannot score, we've talked about this before. Hell, we talked about it coming into Atlanta before they went crazy, right? And had their highest output in two seasons. Everything is magnified when you cannot score. So the defense, you look at the scoring defense and you say, well, that should be good enough to win games. Right now, or at least in the last couple, it's not been good enough. They need to find ways to play better collectively. I know it's a tough task, but it's what the money's for, right? You hate to boil it down to that, but that's a front that has been very heavily invested in. Where we talk about the lack of assets that the Titans have for, say, the offensive line group. The defensive line is supposed to be special. You should have an opportunity to be special today and make this a lot easier on everybody involved.
Yeah, and it looks like they just have one special player with a whole bunch of good, solid players around them, which is not enough. And so
Although
everybody has stepped down a little bit as far as production, which is interesting with Autry, Key. We were expecting more. Even Landry is starting now to pick up numbers, so he's starting to get numbers, but I don't know if he's impacting the game outside of those numbers. See, the numbers don't tell you all the story. We can say, oh, yeah, it's 4 sacks, but do you really feel like he's impacted the game?
No.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
There's an element of cleanup to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him getting sacks at the end of a game, I
Right.
think we could say one of them did impact the game. But other than that, I just feel like he may be coming into form, but as far as his impact in the game, I saw him dropping just as much, and I don't think he's impactful at all dropping. I think they need to just keep him rushing.
There should be some opportunities today based on recent history at least. Bryce Young threw a pick 6 last week, his third in 3 games. That gave him 8 interceptions to 9 touchdowns on the season. Also, as far as getting sacked, Buck, you talked right off the top about the offensive line that's in front of him. Bryce Young is the 3rd most sacked quarterback in the league. Maybe today is the day the front four can get home a couple of times. Oddly enough, you know who had the only sack last week in Jacksonville? For the Titans.
Oh, I should know that.
Boy, this is a trivia question here.
Wasn't it like a weird sack? Like he ran out of bounds.
Yes.
Oh,
It's a defensive back.
Yep.
no way.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna go McCurry then.
Oh no.
It's like Mike Brown.
No.
Who?
Terrell Edmonds
Oh.
was the Titans sack man last week in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and it's one of those where he like ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage is technically a sack, right? So,
Okay, distinguish to me why that wasn't a tackle for loss because it was the quarterback.
that's a good question because
I used to have this conflict when we played in how they would distinguish why sometimes it isn't.
I think it's because he hasn't officially established himself as a runner at that point.
Oh, okay.
They had another play where I guess he established himself as a runner, and they tackled him for a loss.
Yes.
But then on another time he ran, tucked it, and ran out of bounds, and you get credit for a sack for that. I'm confused by that sometimes as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought for the longest time, if you tackle the quarterback behind the line, it's a sack.
It's a sack.
That's not
right.
true.
Uh-huh.
Some guy up there gets to decide what that is.
You don't want to leave it in their hands today.
Here's another one that stuck out to me last week just because we haven't really gotten to talk much about this guy. Monty Rice led the team in tackles last week. The Monty Rice saga has been one of the more interesting things to me. He's like Radens. He's the guy that just sort of orbits the team in various positions, and Radens gets plugged in and then gets pushed back out into orbit, and Radens gets pushed to guard, then he goes back out into orbit, or he's a left tackle, then he goes back. They never want to seem to keep him in the solar system. Monty Rice orbited this team for more than half a season. Now he has entered the solar system.
I went to talk to him in the locker room this week, and he was like, "Oh, now y'all want to talk?" Huh? And I was like, well,
Sorry,
yeah, but
man.
you're playing on defense now. Now we have, I mean, respectfully, like special teams matters in the larger scheme of things, but you've earned a larger opportunity. If we're trying to talk to you, it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. So at this point, capitalize on those opportunities.
Is Aziz hurt? I mean, what happened?
Aziz's been banged up. Both him and Gibbons have been banged up, so I think that's where the first kind of Monty snaps materialized.
Right.
And since then, Vrabel has talked about some things that they've seen on tape, that he's liked the way that he's executing, stuff like that. He's obviously a very physical player out there, plays with a lot of speed, a lot of energy. You don't want him to over-pursue because sometimes he can get ahead of himself, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. But, you're waiting to see some of these young players who were drafted here by a different administration have some kind of an impact on a game. And if, Monty Rice is going to be that guy or Dylan Radens is going to be that guy, it unfortunately it's not going to be Traylon Burks. So Kyle Phillips, like any of these players who, Blaine, you're right about we talked about the amount of roster turnover earlier in the year. There's still guys on this roster who they need to make plays here that can be a part of the future if they want to be, if they deserve to be. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, we're kind of in the bleep around and find out phase with a lot of these guys.
Is Z's on an injury report?
He has been on the injury report. I'll give you a designation here in just a second.
Yeah, I was just real curious because I think they are evaluating different players and see
Sure.
who will be here next year or not. And they're showing like, hey, let's let him out here. Hey, Aziz is banged up. Put him out here and let's see what he can do. If not, he could be a depth piece or he won't be here. I think they're trying to get rid of all those guys who, if you're not playing and performing up to the level of your draft pick or your salary, those guys are going to be gone after this year, and that's the evaluation. So I'm interested to see how much he gets an opportunity, how much he plays, and how well he does. I think he's got something, but you have to do it in games and to see if you can really get it done on a consistent basis. So, I just was wondering if he was using Vrabel that he was banged up, kind of general terms, banged up, and then gave another player an opportunity because he just wanted to see them. And not necessarily Aziz was on the injury report because he was really injured. He was just saying, hey, you're banged up. It's kind of making you, hesitate a little bit in here, or you're feeling weary on Monday. So let's put the other guy here, at least take some of the pounding off of you real quick.
That certainly could be how it started because he's not on the injury report today or this week. So we'll see, how they've kind of determined that over the course of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, a lot of coaches do that just to kind of evaluate player. Because, that's the approach I would use on the Fulton. Instead of, coach's decision. Well, he got a little banged up. We just want to make sure he was okay. See?
On the Avery stuff, Avery coming in and out.
Because, that's how I would have played that because you put Avery in a tough situation, man.
Coach's decision is a tough line to kind of have just
and then
out
you
there.
go out there, and you're supposed to be in your deep zone, and they run across it all the way from the other side, and that's my area.
There it is, and there it went.
Yeah, so it's tough, man. So, coaches have different mechanisms of how they try to slide guys in and out without being obvious and saying, hey, we benching a guy, because they're not really benching a guy. They just want to see another player see what they can do in live action.
We mentioned Adam Thielen a little bit earlier. He's sixth in the league in catches. He has 76 catches. I know the NFL is a lot about matchups, and it's like Buck alluded to this earlier. They played the Steelers, and they said, Watt's not going to beat us. Well, then, as we talked about Highsmith all week, he goes, okay, then I will beat you. how many resources do you throw at Adam Thielen today? Just saying, we're going to let somebody – Mingo has to beat us today, not Adam Thielen in his 76 catches.
Adam Thielen cannot be the – like, he can end up leading them in receiving, but Adam Thielen cannot be the guy that beats you today. Those are two different things, right? Because to a certain extent, guy's going to get numbers. Like, he's a veteran player.
He's sixth in the league in catches.
It's absurd. He has to be so pissed. Like, I mean, honestly, for the work that he's able to still get done at this stage of his career, but he cannot be the thing that outright beats you. If you want to, if there are opportunities where he's just going to make some plays from time to time, that's one thing. But to be unprepared for the one thing that you know can hurt you today would be an indictment of the people preparing them throughout the course of the week. It's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I guess I second you guys. I don't think Adam Thielen is a player that can beat you by himself.
Sure.
Now, you're not going to ignore his numbers because they are what they are because you're in a tough situation with a bad team. So I would be going in the game with a couple game plans. Let's say we're going to see if he can, with his receptions, keep drives alive. If not, then I need to double him, and I'm going to make the other guys. Do you have enough resources and confidence in your cornerbacks if you do go down that road to double Thielen? Because then he's always looking to Thielen because he's his cushion blanket, is just the guy he's going to go to because he trusts him. And do you make him throw the other guys? And can they beat your guys? So it'll be an interesting matchup because I would say he's not an elite player, but he is a very productive player.
Yeah.
And those guys eventually over time in a game can beat you, to your point, Buck, even though it just seems like he's, catching 8 yards here, 6 yards there, and then all of a sudden he catches a 15-yard touchdown. Those things kind of build, and you say, well, hey, man, we gotta stop this. He's not a guy, if we double him, he's not, Randy Moss, where we double him, then he's going to still say, throw to me. He's not that kind of player, so he can't beat you by himself. So you kind of let the game play out to see where you're at with your secondary and your pass rush to see if you can contain this guy to a point where he can't beat you by himself. I just don't think he's that type of player.
Sure.
I think he's a real good player. I just don't think he's that, 6 receptions. You can target a guy as much as you want in the NFL, and he's going to get his targets. Doesn't mean he's a guy that can beat you by himself, but he's definitely a guy you want to be keen to and knowing that he can do enough damage to win the game, though.
And to that, 9.6 yards per catch. He has been more of a chain mover for them.
Right.
I mean, he has been a fantastic chain mover for them.
I always liked him, even with Minnesota. I thought he was an underrated player. This is a very good player. I like my receivers to be somewhat similar to him, opposite of a speed guy.
Good
who's
size.
A downtown. Yeah, great route runner. run after catch. Dependable.
Yes.
Just dependable. You know what you're going to get every single game. It's not going to change. Even if he just lets targets, the targets he gets, he's going to catch it. He's going to be productive. Can we say that about anybody besides D-Hop?
While you're talking through this, Blaine, I'm starting to cycle through. I'm like, do they have a player who comes to mind other than DeAndre Hopkins? And right now, DeAndre Hopkins having to pull double duty. He's out there batting down passes and stuff like that on interceptable balls. He's doing the.
Hey, I think he'd be a pretty good corner, man. He got the length, got the size.
He's
Maybe
trying.
Potentially it could be something you can do.
Oh, God.
Hey, on Hail Marys or something? Hey,
They've done it with
back
Gronk.
there.
They've done it with Gronk.
Let's throw the Hail Mary to Ron Slay, who joins us now.
Oh, my. Good segue.
It sounds considerably louder over there, Slay. Has the heat been turned up at the Titans VIP tailgate party?
Yes, it has. I had to remind people that this is climate controlled. I think a lot of people stayed on the first and third floor and forgot that we were up here on the fourth floor thinking that it was on the rooftop and it was going to be cold. But we got a tent and we got heat pumping up here, so we good, man. I had to just remind the people they up here now. That's good.
How was the crowd looking over there? They're filing in a little slow today, man. I think they're still making some turkey hash or something leftovers for breakfast.
They're still in that coma.
Yeah, a little slow to get here today.
Hey, man, I think it's that, too. And then I think people stayed on their knees a little longer giving prayers, man, that we can get a victory and get off the schneid finally, man. Like, this is a get-right team with the Carolina Panthers. So, hopefully, everybody just, like you said, woke up. People started to say an extra prayer. Then somebody went and got a Bloody Mary. And then they were looking around like, you know what? Let's go to the game. So, they ought to be filing in just a little bit more, probably, in the next hour and a half or so.
So, we don't even have a chance to get any chance and tighten up or nothing, huh?
You know what? Let's try it. I don't know. This is for you, Hitman. Hold on. Well, let's see. Let's see how this goes right here. Hey! We're going to tighten up on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey! Hey, there we go.
Okay, all right.
They looked like they were in the distance, but
Did he just say, let's try it?
Yeah. He had to try.
Slay.
Yeah, it was good.
You're earning your money today, big boy.
Hey, Buck. Listen, I just saw y'all on live. I'm like, man, if y'all ain't got nobody over there, we got nobody over here. Where the hell is everybody at?
We got like 3 people out here, man.
Slay.
They represent. They loud though.
Slay. We are previewing the toilet bowl. Like there's got to be a certain level of expectation around here.
It has to be.
I think this is a starter. Hey, Slay, let's you and me. We'll team up on this something special. They got 5 of the last 7 at home. There's no place like home, right?
Yes.
Today is the first day. This is a chance for a get-right game. I'm ready to preach this revival here, Slay, right? Come on, can I get an amen?
You amen, man. I'm definitely
got some
right.
amen
As an amen for that.
Yeah, you got some divisional
one
games.
sad, lonely
you got some
amen.
divisional games left, man. Divisional games, you got the coach coming in here after. Like, this is to get right, get the momentum going so you can get your bike going downhill. You don't need brakes when you're going downhill. We just got to get going downhill. We got to get on the bike and ride, man.
Oh man.
Winds are like oxygen, right? This team needs a breath of oxygen. Get the oxygen tanks dropped into this stadium.
I think this is a spin bike, man. They tightened it up, man. It got real tight, hard to pedal.
No.
Come on here, man. Let's come on here, man.
Oh, my gosh. All right, Slave, listen, temperature check as we go. Again, people filing in over there. They need to know. They can join you every week over there, right? It's a party every week.
Every single week, man. Every home game from 3 hours all the way up to kickoff. 9 to 12 is being today. You can use the QR code at the door as well. A lot of people were hitting me and saying, we can't find Bullseye Event Group on social media. Listen, you can come, show up, scan the QR code, get in. 3 floors of greatness going on. 4 floors, I'm sorry. Food on every floor, a different station on every floor. Family friendly. The Xbox station is going down on the 3rd floor. You got the DJ up here with me and legendary C-Wiz. Drinks free flowing. I promise you, one thing about it, it is a good time. And it's climate control. So don't let the weather stop you. Just get
You
here.
would see Wiz keep controlling that climate over there. Keep it hot.
We got it. Hey, y'all scoot over. Too many move. There's too many people up here, y'all. My bad. Go ahead.
All right, Ron, we will bid you adieu. Enjoy the rest of your morning over there and enjoy the game today, buddy.
Slay
No
ride.
doubt. Tighten up, baby.
The sleigh ride right into the holiday season with Ron Slay. All right, while you are here today, as you get here, the traffic is lining up. So come
the
on
band,
out.
the band.
We can hear the drummers in the distance. I mean, little drummer boys right here in the holiday season. It's all going down, so why don't you come join us? You can say hello to us as well outside of the Titans Pro Shop. Remember, while you are here, today's broadcast brought to you in part by SA Recycling. SA Recycling reminds you to be a good fan this game day and look for recycle bins in and around Nissan Stadium as well as the SA Recycling Razor. Also, we remind you to trust our friends at the Lee Company. The Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play is to visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff on 104.5 The Zone, or wherever you are listening, Zone TV or the 104.5 The Zone app or 104.5thezone.com. We don't care. We're just happy that you're with us on this post-Thanksgiving trip to Nissan Stadium today, whether you'll be joining us at the stadium or you'll be joining us all day on all the Zone platforms. We have got you covered. We appreciate this coverage coming from our friends at Lee Company. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. We also have the inactives for today, gentlemen. Traylon Burks will once again be inactive. No surprise there. Hasn't practiced in a minute now. Malik Willis will be the third quarterback. Terrell Edmonds, last week's only sack master for the Titans, will not be getting any sacks today because he is inactive. I guess it is a matchup thing.
You are just trying to annoy Blaine now.
Caleb Murphy.
Well, I don't understand. Like, how do you go from you started pretty much or played a lot to now you're not dressing and you're not injured?
Which one, Gibson?
Edmonds.
The
safety that they was part of the trade, right?
They've been looking at a couple of different. It's kind of like Kendall Vildor, where they brought him in and they played him and he was with them through camp, and then all of a sudden he wasn't in the lineup. He was like, okay, maybe we try something else. I mean, at this point, Blaine, I don't hardly blame them for shuffling parts there. And listen, I'm not in the meeting room, so I don't want to speak out of turn. But if you feel like, because we keep asking them about what can you do here, what seems to be a recurring theme, and
there's nothing you can do.
Right. So when they're making personnel changes, I mean, you saw Jaleel Johnson get waived earlier this week,
and he said some mean stuff.
Was very frustrated about the idea. They keep trying to tinker with the defense when the defense isn't the problem. That defensive lineman that got cut this week.
So what did he actually say?
He deleted the tweet. I'll find it.
Oh, he said something on social media.
Yeah.
Not in an interview.
No, God, no, not in an interview. This was on the way. This was
I remember
2 hours after
he got cut, and they would say what he said. I didn't see what he said.
2 hours after getting waived, he gets on Twitter, and I will find the tweet for you unless Mickey gets there before I do.
The reason why I say that about Edmonds because I think we're getting players that are one-dimensional. Like he's more of a dime guy who really probably doesn't have great cover skills, but for tight ends maybe. So I'm just interested, how do you go from starting to all of a sudden now we don't like you and you don't even dress? I get we're not going to start you.
Well, it's not the first time that they've done it.
No, I know. They keep doing it. And to me, that's a recipe. That's almost like guys are getting injured in the secondary. Do you know about cohesiveness? Like, how can you develop that if you keep moving pieces and parts around that you think aren't satisfied after one game? Like, here's one thing that's about coaching. You got to learn to trust a player. And once you make that decision, it ain't about if he messed up one time. Dude, you can't yank him up. Did you mess up on one of your calls? Did you make a bad call? We can't talk about that, right, as a player. So don't act like you're perfect either. So I just don't understand where this goes in the NFL level where you're yanking guys in and out of the lineup, whether you're starting, not starting, a role player, and then you keep moving those pieces. Like, that would irritate me as a starting safety just because I'm like, man, I don't even know who I'm talking to because I don't even I don't think I trust him actually on the field.
Now, they're not expressing that publicly with media, but they're getting on social media and stuff like Rashad Weaver. Before Tampa Bay, he's inactive.
They are saying this.
He's inactive for the game.
LOL.
He's just LOL about the idea of not
See,
playing.
That's what I'm saying. But you can't do that.
I mean, they're legitimately
like a
bothered.
knee-jerk reaction stuff that doesn't happen in the NFL. You know what that sounds like to me? College coach. That's what it sounds like to me. Because you have nowhere to go. The guy that's at second, he's not better than the guy that's at first string.
Blaine, as soon as
it's
they were
not
willing,
going to happen.
As soon as they were willing to do this with the quarterback position, all bets are off. I mean, that's what they did. They came into that Falcons game with a plan to play both quarterbacks in ways that we thought were unthinkable at the time.
No, that's what they said. I always go by their actions. Their actions never said that. Their actions said Will Levis was the guy. They one play they put him in, they botched it on the snap with Willis, and then they went with Levis the whole time. So to me, it was all about Levis, and he was just trying to disguise what he wanted to do. And we all knew what was going to happen just because he was a second-round pick and he had all the tools. So we got to see what we got. I mean, we know what we got in Levis or Willis. So yeah, I think that's all that was. I think he was going to play Levis the entire time.
Jaleel Johnson had tweeted, I guess the now deleted tweets, they so worried about trying to fix the defense when we're not the problem. Effing put the tape on and watch.
So
and he later said, going from a team like that to a 9-1 team has got to be the greatest feeling in the world. Obviously, talking about Kevin Byard, because I think that was the day the Eagles may have been playing on TV. Maybe
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Monday.
Byard
Night
had the
Football.
interception
Yeah.
of Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I said that they did him a favor. So, yeah. But there are issues on the defense. You can't say it's just the offense, but it's more of the offense than the defense. But you should be focusing on your job, see? And I told you, as time goes on, if you depend on one side of the ball, I've said this repeatedly, Mickey, on our show, is that at some point that wears on players, and they start saying, hey, man, we can't keep this up, dude. Those guys get paid too now. So we can't just shut guys out. I don't care how good we are. We don't have Pro Bowl players at every position on our team. So at some point, you're going to have a bad game, and you can't stop them, and they can't stop you. I mean, it's just that's the way it works in this league, depending on who's healthy, who's not, if you're fresh or if you're nicked up, and you can play your best and play your A game. So, yeah, to a point, I said that could possibly happen, and it seems like players now are voicing their opinion.
Oh, I mean,
Damn,
Blaine,
I didn't know that. I wouldn't have the cojones to be putting nothing out on no social media if I'm a player, especially if I'm a fringe player like that. So he has no business, and that's why they asked him. Yeah, that's why they cut him there. You can't do that. Now, if you're Jeffrey Simmons, now I carry some weight. Now, he can say what he wants to say, but he's not going to do that because he's a pro's pro.
Well, and I just wanted to bring that up, Blaine, because we talked to Jeff after every game. And after every game, he's a good soldier.
Right.
But he's saying,
he's frustrated too.
On defense, he's basically saying, I guess we'll just have to make more plays. I guess we'll just have to, play better than we already are and all these things. And he's sticking. He's not like breaking form the way that Jaleel Johnson or somebody like or the way that Jaleel Johnson did, but it wears on you. There's no question.
But what it does tell me is that there are guys on the team that believe that, and he's just the only one that spoke it.
Sure.
See? So when they talk about locker room, those were valid questions because that's what happens when you lose and you're not winning and people start pointing the finger. And to me, Vrabel heightens that by yanking players out after they mess up. You don't do that. Not in the pro game. Just think about this. All the coaches the Titans have had. Think about how much they yanked somebody. Now, maybe the quarterback, but other than that, no. It doesn't happen. So I don't get it. Now, you could talk about the Jimmies and the Joes, but you knew what you signed up for and when you got it, and you approved of this roster. And 40% of it is yours. You can say what you want to say. You and Rand, this is y'all roster. You got to live and die with young players, new players, whoever you brought in. And guys just traded. You thought they were replaceable. I just don't agree with that premise as a head coach.
Clearly some people in the locker room don't either.
See?
Yeah.
And I know they know. And they can't speak. Everybody's buttoned up because Vrabel is a control guy, and they do that, he'll cut them. Then you messing with the guy's money.
Yeah.
The other two guys that are inactive is Travis Gibson, who plays 1 week and then doesn't play a week and then plays 2 weeks and now is inactive again. Kayla Murphy is the other guy. At some point, you were talking about, let's just evaluate guys. I would like to see the evaluation of Kayla Murphy because he seems to evaluate the quarterback when he's in the game. And they're having trouble getting sacks.
He evaluating him?
Yes, he is. I'd like to. Hey,
well, we
what
did.
do you have to lose
well,
at
in the
this point?
preseason, he was evaluating. We don't
Yes.
know what he can do in the regular season.
So I'd like to see.
Yeah, why not him?
I'd like to see that little fella out there.
I mean,
you cover it better than anybody, Buck. I mean, you're there.
No, Blaine, I'm with you. Like, at a certain point, we have reached the point of the season where it's why not time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jalen Duncan as a left tackle.
Why not?
Why not? Travis Gibson out there on the edge. Caleb Murphy out there on the edge. Why not? Give me something because what you have done for the first couple of weeks hasn't damn worked. And if you've got players who you think are talented or who we have seen show flashes and it's incumbent upon you to get the best version of them, well then put it into practice because you can't replicate what this is on a game day, the experience, the level of physicality, the speed, everything that is required to get you up to where you need to be to perform in an NFL game. Practice at St. Thomas Sports Park is not going to do that for these guys. So I am 100% in agreement with you two. We are at the point where we're why not with a lot of these guys on the roster.
Desperate times, desperate measures.
Well, one of the why nots that this guy caught right after the game on Sunday was like, I think Wiley played more than all the other tight ends today.
He did.
That's peak why not because I mean, he was.
Well, we can say he's developing. He's gaining experience.
Yeah.
He's probably getting somewhat better.
There's opportunity to be had because Chig,
oh, my gosh.
Well, I wrote this question down. Cheek breakout game today. It's week 12. You guys ready to commit?
In week 12, are you allowed to have a breakout game in week 12 if your team is 3-7?
Breakout game today.
That's tough. That's tough for me to go week breakout game. I mean,
if Chig drops another ball, I might go Nick Saban. My head's going to explode.
Just full-on meltdown. Listen, he may not get the opportunity for the breakout game if Wiley continues to capitalize on those opportunities. That's the reality of the National Football League.
Yes.
And whatever, right, wrong, fair, foul, whatever it is, we are in week 12, as you said, Mick. I don't think I'm willing to let somebody have a breakout game or continue to have opportunities.
What's the cutoff
to have a
that?
breakout game?
Yeah, on the breakout game.
I'm pretty sure 3-7, at least based on my blood pressure, is where I'm at with the cutoff.
Oh, what is that?
I think it's a camera rig, something like that.
Oh,
What's going on, man?
That's a camera.
Well, there's not a camera on it yet. There's something on it.
Oh, yeah, there's the camera.
It's a camera rig.
See the camera
There you
crew
go.
go by.
Oh, they got the
Gentleman's
back
basically
deals.
wearing
Okay.
a crane on his person.
Yeah, that was weird.
Camera weighs more than me.
How could this team be so and granted, it's a tiny sample size. I said this earlier. The Titans have scored 28, 27, and 27 at home, and no more than 16 anywhere else that
so
they've
weird.
been. How is that? How could they be so
I
different
wish-
at home than
man,
on the
I
road?
wish I knew the
You
rest
played
of
in
that.
this stadium. Is there magic in there?
Oh, wait, it must be for this team. Every year's a new year, and every team's a different team. Boy, it must be some magic scoring potion.
But think about that. 28, 27, and 27. If they can
I'm
even
going to walk
come
around with that potion.
close to
in the locker
replicating
room.
that.
Gonna be like the priest at Easter that's got the little incense thing, just passing it out. You know what I'm
So
talking
we're
about?
expecting 27 today in a win because they don't lose at home.
I mean, something.
No less than 27. That's the floor.
But my expectations are I don't know. Roll the dice. Let's see where it goes.
Man.
But here's the thing, and I'd be curious. I don't have the answer to this question off the top of my head right now. I'd like to look into it.
Nice pre-gaming out here.
But people get after it.
That's what we do, man. We ask questions. We don't have answers.
Interesting smell here, yeah.
Well, I mean the idea that that's a fair point by you. But I noticed that they have 19 pre-snap penalties as an offense.
Oh,
This year.
unforced error.
Right? So
there's a killer.
the percentage of that at home versus on the road is what I would like to like. I
that's
looked
a
up.
great stat. So what is it?
I don't know.
No, he was asking.
He
wasn't telling you.
He was asking.
I thought you were about. I was like, oh, that's a good
I
stat.
was like, how many pre-snap penalties do they have? I had the pre-snap penalties have. I didn't look up home or road. I'll do that for the next time we're out
Well,
there.
you got some
that's
time
good
on
looking
your
at
hands.
though.
We got a little time. But point being, that's a factor for them as an offense.
For
Yes.
whatever it is, yeah.
As an offense. So how often they're getting behind the chains, whether the disparity of that is at home or on the road, I'd be curious to find out more about. But bar none, 19 pre-snap penalties as an offense. You've got to play better. You've got to play more sound football. Just fundamentally, Blaine, and that's so
irritating.
so
And that's an
bizarre for
irritating
me to
deal
like
from Vrabel.
see, right? Oh my God, he has to be losing his mind. But at the same time, like that is your job as the coaching staff, and not just him, but as the collective.
Oh, yeah.
How can this continue to be such a factor in your games when your margin for error is so thin?
Well, I don't like that part of the margin so thin, but that's the situation you're dealing with
Sure.
with this roster. But eventually, if they keep making those mistakes, it won't be more about the player; it'll be about the coaching. And that's just how the league works. Unfortunately, that's unfair, but that is, you could tell them till you're blue in the face, and they keep making the same mistake. Ultimately, then that's when you take somebody out and you put somebody else in, or you say we have not a better option behind there. We just got to stick with him.
Sure.
Hopefully, he won't, do an unforced error again. But man, what was it? Dylan Radis got in there, or somebody. It was got 2 false starts like immediately.
It was
Dylan
Radis.
Radis.
I was like, oh no,
Back to back.
I don't know. I was like, dang, I want to be a fan of yours. To hopefully you do well, because all the odds have been against you. And then all of a sudden you get out there and 2 false starts. They go, yep. See, that's why he's not playing.
But if you don't have the Jimmies and the Joes, I think the frustrating thing is, Buck, that you're alluding to is if you don't have the Jimmies and Joes, just play fundamentally sound football. Give yourself a chance, right? Be the least penalized team. Be the team that doesn't get the ball away. Maybe be the team that gets the takeaway. But just the untimely penalties on third and forever on defense when you get a penalty, or just When you
keeping drives alive. Oh, that was killing me.
And they did that against the Jags. They just continue to not give themselves a chance to win the game. Or let's say you get a punt return or something, or maybe the momentum kind of shifts your way.
Oh, my God. He had the return, and then, the long snapper put a helmet on it, but still, just moments like that drive you insane.
Oh, that was not – that you let the long snapper rip the ball out you, Guerra. I want you to do well, but that cannot happen.
Mike told us in the press conference, they got a good long snapper. I'm like, come on, man.
That's something you'll never
get at long snapping, not tackle. Maybe he does get down the field because he's looked like he's one of the smaller long snappers.
Oh, no, that little rascal was running everywhere. He had everything that moved in there.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is the state of things.
Oh, man. That broke him.
But just to play a clean game, and the thing, Buck, you alluded to earlier, where they say, well, we practice really well. It just doesn't carry over. Gosh, we practice really well, but it just doesn't carry over. And this is super clean in practice, but then it just doesn't carry over. And it'd be nice to see it carry over for a few weeks here.
Sure. Listen, the best thing that you can say about this football team is that they play well at home, and they've got 5 of their last 7, or 5 of their last 6 at this point.
5 of their last 7.
5 of their last 7 here at home. All right? So we're going – they don't deserve any benefit of the doubt right now. But if you wanted to capitalize on a tough stretch of schedule that you had, particularly those 3 straight road games that they're just having concluded, now would be the time to show some signs of life.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a little tired of hearing it works in practice, and then it's not. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here because when I hear that, during the season, you're not practicing really hard. So what do you mean it works at practice? Are you telling us the coaches put in a game plan that those plays won't work? Or are you part of the problem why it's not working? So that's what I'm trying to decipher between. Because we all know once the season starts, the practices aren't like, let's break you down. It's more about assignment-driven, what you're expecting, what you're doing, get in the right spots, be at the right place at the right time, be in the right technique as offensive lineman. So all those things are what's going on in practice. And naturally, if you're going against the scout team, they're not going to fight the resistance and the force that you're going to get in a game because our plays are supposed to work. So that's where the scout team and the practice squad and all those guys, they're supposed to help you as an offense and a defense to be better. To say, hey, man, I could have beat you right here, so what are y'all doing? And then you know as a player, offense or defense, if that actual play is going to work. You can't go tell the coach. You're supposed to have those discussions, in a one-on-one, whether it's the quarterback or captain of the defense, and having those conversations about, we used to have those conversations immediately afterwards, me and the middle linebacker with the DC. Hey, do you think that the game plan we just put in is too hard for our players, or do you think it will work? I said, hey, we got to walk through them, but some of this stuff is high level, and I just don't think our guys are going to be able to do all the adjustments to this actual, called play. We don't run this, so I don't know if guys are going to feel comfortable. I'd rather run something comfortable that has holes in it and we'll be flying around than making a mistake on adjustments. So I wonder if that's what they're saying. I don't know.
We don't have the access to practice
right
the way that we do during training camp, right? Hell, I went out there on Friday. We were out there for 10 minutes, watch them stretch, and then we left for the day. So, there's only so much that we're learning at this point in time. The thing that Levis said on Sunday after the Jags loss that I thought was interesting, because he brought up the same thing about practice not carrying over, and he said there's been he would like to see them more focused, is a word that he kept coming back to, and that there was an element of freak out a little bit. He used the word freak out in the game when talking about the amount of pressure that they were under and not freaking out under pressure. And I don't know if he was referring to himself individually, if he's trying to play more within himself and try to manage the situation, or if he was talking about the group as a whole, because he didn't really distinguish in that moment. But it's just something to keep an eye on today, operationally, because we're talking about these 19 pre-snap penalties and all these different things. To allow them to play faster, they have to be able to find ways to just get the game plan that's most comfortable for them to be able to execute. They already have a shortened playbook a little bit because they're not able to have as many third down packages where they're running a bunch of routes. They got to keep guys in to protect. It shortens what you're able to do. It narrows what you're able to do. But even within that narrowed playbook, there has to be something that gets these guys in a more comfortable rhythm. And we've seen them move the ball on drives, right? Whether it's the fumble on the high snap, the botched exchange there, or things like that pop up when they are moving the football. It's just it's if it's not one thing, it's another. It seemed, at least in the first couple of weeks of this.
Got a couple minutes left. We'll get to players that I want you guys to watch, or who are you watching today, but we alluded to this earlier.
You got Murphy and Gibson not going.
Yeah, neither one of those guys.
Hey.
Maybe they'll tweet instead of Weaver this week.
I don't want to see the Panthers get right at anything they're not doing well, because it seems like every pregame show we go, gosh, this team can't do this and they can't do that, and then they go and do those things. No get-right game for the Panthers today. I don't want to see them get right at anything. I want to see them get wrong at things. More wrong than they've ever been.
Mickey wants to put the thumb down on them and just squish.
But they can't get right today. I mean, they're 31st in red zone scoring defense, so the Titans can't go out there and go 1 for 4 in the red zone today. You know, things like that. I just don't want this to be a get-right game for them. All right. Who are you guys watching today? Got about a minute left. Who have you got your eye on?
Jalen Duncan, big spot for the rookie sixth-round pick out of Maryland. He's got a huge opportunity. If they can figure out something beyond Peter Skoronski on this offensive line into the future, I mean,
yes,
anything. Whether he's depth, whether he's another position, or just today, like, it's a huge opportunity for him, and I think he is relishing it. Whether he's able to capitalize on it or not, we will find out.
We're at home. I'm looking for guys who are getting paid the big ducks to play big bucks, to play like that. And then on offense, that's for defense mostly, the front four. I just want to see up-tempo and rhythm and consistency of not having unforced errors. And then see where you're at in the game. Just play a clean game. Whether you win or lose, just a clean game. You did some good things. It was solid. You can kind of hang your hat on.
I agree with all that stuff. Play well up front on both sides. See what you can do. All right, it's time for us to get out of here. Time for Titans Countdown next. We'll leave you as we always do.
Tighten up, Buck.